Yeah, I have no idea what just happened. I think the NWO shut me down. uh, let's just wait for a couple more people for a couple more people to join. I seriously have no idea what just happened. All right, I'm glad that people are joining back in. That's good. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Kevin. I don't know what happened, man. All right, let's try this. Let's try this again, right? What's up, Jody? What's up, Betty? Vanessa? Robin? Maybe it's because I almost pronounced the city that Joe is from perfectly in Welsh, so that no, I'm just kidding. I totally butchered that. What's up, Marcel? Evan, how are you doing, brother? Damn, Sanaz, it's 3:07. Go to sleep. I'm glad you're awake though right now. You're hanging out with us. That's great. Sending you love too. No, I don't know why it was taken down. I could check my email and maybe it could be because of the it could have been because of the thumbnail. I don't know. I really don't know. But I've used this thumbnail before and I've streamed this video, this exact video before, and I've had no problem. So we should be good. What's up, Los Lopez? Damn, everyone's drinking up in here, man. What's up? I need some wine now too, man. I gotta join the crowd. I'm over here with this glass of water. What's up, Jane? What's up, Jack? How's it going, Johnny? Stephen Andrews. Oh, Jody, really? It was a bad time? Was it were you camping during like really bad weather? Was it super hot for you? I know you're up in I know you're up in Washington State, I believe. I forgot exactly where you're from. If I remember it, then holy shit, I can't believe I remembered it. But because there's so many places in Washington. But damn, I really want to remember. It's not Everett. But anyways, I know the summer there has been kind of weird with yeah, it's been really weird with all the wildfires over in the Pacific Northwest. How's it going, Jorge? But anyways, Jody, the next camping trip will be good. Sometimes you just need to have a bad time somewhere for contrast, just for a little bit of contrast. What's up, Jay? How's it going, John Upper? Ed Royce? Daniel Hernandez, how are you? Vladi, OG Wolf in the house. Waters Above is the best to drink. I love that. Yeah, I actually have a Dunkel from Eyinger. It's an old school brewery from the Munich area. Probably going to crack into that in a couple minutes. Ness, how are you, brother? David, yeah, we did get kicked from the Matrix, but we're back at it. We got 100 people pretty quickly, so that's great. I think we had like 300 people. Stefan says, oh, this is a pretty good question. Do you plan on staying in the U.S. throughout this transition? Things are getting pretty dystopian for me. Well, you know what I must say about that? I don't think the rest of the world is much better. Like, there's clearly way more shitty places to be right now. Like, predominantly Southeast Asia looks pretty rough. Obviously, Australia is a shithole. Not the entire continent of Australia, but predominantly Victoria. I know because I used to live there, so I have a lot of friends who currently live there, and I also have a lot of friends who live all throughout Australia, and it seems to be like the New World Order is taking it pretty hard there. I do understand that the UK and Canada are pretty rough in regards to how quickly they're trying to make this transition. In regards to this jab, we'll call it, for the rest of the night. So I don't actually believe that they're, you know what, like Utah and Idaho and Wyoming and Montana and the Dakotas, those are awesome, man. Like if you're living in the United States currently and you're trying to escape, like go there. And you know, Arizona's all right. Arizona is definitely a little bit more liberal with the masks and making their employees wear the masks, but Arizona is also very beautiful, like high vibrations for sure. I have family in Arizona, and of course I keep in contact with Coach JV pretty regularly. He's in Mesa. So yeah, I mean, I would say if you want to have the closest thing to freedom possible, have it be in Utah, Montana, or Wyoming would be absolutely awesome choices. Try to stay away from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's way too expensive there. And for anyone who's planning on relocating, he's howling away. Yeah, I used to have a husky too, and she would do her nighttime howls for sure, especially during the full moon. Dow, I appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you. Sending you high vibes. Michael Clark says, what are your thoughts on recent world events? I got to admit, I do not know what's going on in the world right now, besides what some of the people that I keep in contact with tell me. I don't watch the news. I don't have Twitter. I don't use Instagram. I don't pay attention to any social media. Honestly, maybe 90% of the time that I'm using social media is because I'm creating content or I am actually just diving through, replying back to people or dealing with my business. So I have about 10% free time that I use for social media, and it's predominantly a focus on my personal education. So whenever I have any free time, I try to stay away from entertainment. Because right now I look at this, my higher self has told me that I need to stay focused on this crypto bull run 100% in regards to any online time. But then I try to minimize my online time as much as possible and be a human being. It's kind of something that I was talking about a little bit earlier in regards to how in July I was so focused on educating everyone and helping everyone get into this market when it was down, when it was blood in the streets. And then I held back on creating as much content into August because during July, I already gave everyone the answer to what would happen over the next month. Even back in early July, I was telling people expect September 2nd into September 3rd to be a top in the market or to be new higher prices across the board. Not necessarily new all-time highs, but just for most of these coins, expect a massive relief rally upwards of 200%. I gave everyone the answer 40 days ago, 50 days ago. So it wasn't necessary for me to be making as much content through the month of August. I tried to focus more on myself. So in August, what I've been practicing, and this is like just maybe because, you know, this is a red pill episode and you guys might be seeking this sort of wisdom, but in the whole month of August, I knew that the market would go up, and I purposefully spent as much free time as I could working on myself, like working on controlling my emotions, basically to have zero greed. That's been something I've been working on a lot. If I could say the two things that I've been working on the most this past month, it's been controlling my emotions towards the market to almost have no emotions. And secondly, to focus on the bigger picture, to be aware that, you know, whatever this market does, if it keeps going to new all-time highs tomorrow, or if it sinks to rock bottom lows, I've done everything I've needed to do in the last 2 weeks to secure my financial position to make sure that whatever happens, it doesn't hurt me. It just is what it is. And that's always been sort of my investment thesis. My investment thesis is very conservative, but it's also extremely effective. And when you combine conservative with effective simultaneously, you get a winning recipe, especially if you're able to time the market. So for those people out there that say time in the market is better than timing the market, well, for those of you that have made it to my channel, you'll know that this is the closest thing that exists to timing the market. It's seriously, I don't know how much more effective it could get. Like calling the bottom on XRP at 51 cents and then watching it go to $1.30. That's the type of gains that people like Warren Buffett, it takes him like a decade to pull off. And this community, the Waters Above Wolves, we pulled it off in fucking 40 days. You know what I'm saying? Like the average hedge fund is lucky to get 20%. Michael Burry's fund, Scion Capital, gets 28.5%. Of course, they're working with a shit ton of capital, but we could work with way less capital than them and we could outperform them. And all we need to do is follow the moon. It's simple. Follow the moon, educate yourself on Shemitah, and just know the truth about this market. It's a big algorithm that replays itself year after year after year. It's a cycle. So we outperformed the market so substantially this past month comparatively to so many other communities. And I don't know what more we need to say, like we can walk away de-risked and now we could just anticipate any pullbacks that come. And when there's blood in the streets again, we all have to do our best to have zero fear. The same way that if you were taking profits this last, week or two, you were controlling your greed. It's the greed in people that never wants to sell. It's the greed in people that think it's just going to keep going up forever. And it might keep going up, We might get one of these isolated incidences like Solana or like Cardano or whatever. But that's not every single play. And it's hard to get a 400% play in the course of 40 days. It's not easy. You have to be very disciplined. And discipline is a huge talking point for the month of September. We could touch on that more as September unfolds. What's up, Chris? Critter, Earl Bunyan, D Vortex, Jester, Detroit in the house. What's up, John Hobbs? Much love, brother. All right, we got 264 people back in here, so that's pretty good. We're pretty close back to where we were. Sadiqa, we are back. All right, what's going on, fam? Jody says half rain, but everyone fighting. Oh, you have a 20-year-old daughter? That's awesome. Have you helped her get into crypto, Jody? Because 20 is like, she's probably working, throw a little bit of that cash flow into crypto. I wish damn, man. The market was so dope when I was 20. Anyways. Now I'm 400 years old, so I have to deal with old age. What's up, Nate the Great? Oh, no. Iceland is like pure blown fascism. Iceland is actually the country that I've visited the most outside of my own country. I think I've been to Iceland like 5 or 6 times. I love Iceland. My second time going to Iceland, I did it was like a 50-day hitchhiking trip. So I just had a backpack and I hitched around Iceland and camped. So I slept outside for like 50 days straight. It was a really life-changing experience. And I did it because I was influenced by some guy that I met when I went to Europe a couple years before that. And he was telling me how he shaves his head all the time because he went to Africa and he was imprisoned for having long hair. They literally sent him to jail for having long hair in whatever country he was in. And so anyways, he kind of got a whole group in a hostel like intrigued with his story. I have super long hair. So it was super interesting to me to hear about it. And I didn't really take it for much besides his little discussion on Iceland. And he was talking about how he did hitchhiking around Iceland for a while. And I've been to Iceland like 2 times before that, but I never actually did any hitchhiking. So I kind of took him up on his advice and I did it, and it was absolutely amazing. Like washing your clothes in the river, and there's just all these beautiful Icelandic horses everywhere. Like their horses are so magical. And yeah, Iceland's a very beautiful country, but it's unfortunate that they are essentially socialist. So I couldn't imagine that it's going well there comparatively to a place like Montana or Wyoming or Idaho or something like that. But I'm also open-minded. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Icelanders have pushed back, but they seem to be extremely progressive and extremely liberal. And when you have those two things simultaneously, along with the overall culture of Scandinavia, which is a very technocratic, socialist, sort of like give half your paycheck to your government so you could have a quote-unquote high quality of life, that's a fucking scam. So anyways. So yeah, David, Arizona isn't that bad. I actually have a lot of experience with Arizona, and I have a lot of people that live there. I'm just saying that it seems as if it's a little bit more on the liberal side, and it's a little like the cities in and of themselves seem to be very populated comparatively to the other places that I was mentioning. So I'm sure there's a little more remote places in Arizona that are awesome in regards to like this New World Order takeover. But for the most part, anyway, like it doesn't really matter. My point being is that sure, Arizona's awesome, Utah's awesome. Those are way better, substantially better than California or New York or New Jersey, or that's kind of obvious. It seems like the only place that is on the ocean that is doing all right and kind of pushing back is Florida. But outside of that, Washington State, Oregon, California, for the most part, their cities are going to shit, and their homelessness is going to be out of control. The homelessness increase that you'll see in Phoenix, David, this next collapse, it's going to be bonkers. So people need to get out of these high population cities, man. It's not good. Definitely not good. So someone else named Jordan says best doc or film to learn about the Matrix. I mean, honestly, my favorite documentary that was really a huge red pill for me was the documentary called Europa: The Last Battle. Europa: The Last Battle really shifted my entire perspective because I didn't know. Oh wait, are we? Sorry, wait 1 second. Are we back now? Okay, it seems like we're back. I'm sorry, guys. Like, my internet isn't the greatest on Earth, so I'm sorry if this keeps taking a shit. But anyways, yeah, my favorite documentary is probably Europa: The Last Battle. That shit changed my life. How's it going, Dillip? Much love to you, brother. Sanaz, I think you live in Iran, right? If I remember you living in Iran, it's going to be bad. Iran's going to get rough. Yeah, I mean, just I wish you could come to the States. I mean, I think, like, honestly, the States has some really solid places to go that just are not buying this bullshit that's going on. Like, I've seen it for myself. Jason, appreciate your words. How about we have a conversation, like, as a group about Aquarius and the age of Aquarius? Because I think there's just a big open dialogue that needs to be had about this idea, like, we don't know what time it is. Like, everything that's going on right now in our matrix is based off of time and history. And the word history is very clear in our face. It is his story. And I don't even really believe in time. It's funny, like, how my whole work relies around time and timing and looking at numbers and deciphering and decoding and using Gematria and numerology. But in actuality, like, my higher self, my consciousness doesn't believe in time. It's just an illusion. Now, I understand that I have to be a part of time. I have to play the game. It's like having one foot in the matrix and one foot out. You need to be able to see what's going on from all dimensions in order to be able to live or exist amongst it. So it's kind of like these elites or these Illuminati. Like, why do we spend all of our energy hating them when we can spend that same amount of energy studying them? And when you study them, then you can see how they have set themselves free from the matrix. They are operating at some of the highest states of consciousness. And it's not because they spend their whole day looking at fucking Twitter and TikTok. They spend their entire day reading esoteric knowledge that has been stored in very secret libraries that go back thousands of years, maybe even millions of years for all we know. So again, I'm not professing to say that I know everything. I am extremely full of wonder when it comes to the unknowing. Anyone who's joined my community, you always hear me say the term unlearning because that's what I like to focus on. But when it comes to time and this new age idea of the age of Aquarius, I definitely have had my battles with it. And I'm one of those people that once I hear something enough, once it becomes popular, I start to disregard it. I start to just like go, it's probably bullshit. So yeah, it's kind of my feelings on that, and I'll leave it at that. How's it going, Ian? Much love, brother. What's up, Tyler? Yeah, Nate, that's a really good concept. Like, if you know about how to solve a Rubik's Cube, which I know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, it's all based on algorithms. So once you learn the algorithm, then you can start to get faster at noticing the patterns of the algorithm. So the difference between solving a Rubik's Cube in 4 minutes and 40 seconds actually doesn't have anything to do with speed. It has to deal with noticing the patterns and how quickly you are responding to them. And then there is a little bit of luck from how the cube was mixed up. And that's what we could consider for every bull run being slightly different. Like, every bull run is slightly different, similarly to this analogy of a finalized Rubik's Cube being mixed back up again to be solved again. And with crypto, it's every 4 years. It takes 4 years to solve the Rubik's Cube, but the way that it's mixed up is slightly different because every other crypto bull run will exist within a Shemitah. It's the bull runs in the middle of Shemitah that aren't as affected, and they're way easier to navigate. That's why I keep telling people, like, if you think this bull run was crazy, wait till the next one. The next one, it's going to be even more predictable because we're not going to have a Shemitah. We're not going to have to deal with that. So this one was crazy because it was exactly like the 2013 bull run. And the 2013 bull run was right before a Shemitah. So this is like, it gives everyone much better preparation into seeing what's happening. It's a beautiful thing, actually. Once you can just accept it for what it is and stop trying to outthink it or overthink it, then you'll be much better at being able to navigate it. Ricardo, happy 44th trip around Helios, brother. I am sending you lots of love. Happy 44th, brother. What's up, Dr. Savage? How are you doing, brother? How's it going, Madonna? Much love. Got Denmark in the house. Appreciate you, Campbell. All right. So the maker of the algorithms, that's an interesting idea, but I would assume that the creator of algorithms is the creator, the architect. Who's the architect? The architect is probably a multifaceted, godlike entity, something that is highly sophisticated and powerful. Now, I don't know what that could be. It could be Saturn, it could be Venus, it could be Jupiter, it could be the sun. It could be all those things. It could be all those things simultaneously. And it's a human's job to just be able to figure it all out, to be able to spend our time seeking where the origins are of all this code. Because if you take 3 apples and you say there's 3 apples here, well, it's 3, but what was it before we knew the term 3? Where is the origin of counting? What is the origin of numbers? You know, it's a very interesting conversation to have. It's very philosophical, actually. Because when we get into Gematria, which is essentially applying a numerological value to a letter, that's even more sophisticated. Because that means that we had to have counting before we had letters. Or did we? I don't know. Like when we're looking at this picture, we don't say that there's a million trees outside. We just say, look at all the trees. There's a time at which the human eyes can't even calculate what it's seeing. And therefore, are we all idiots right now because we don't know the amount of trees that are out there? You know, it's like it becomes a really interesting like runaround conversation when you start to like philosophize about numbers and what they truly mean and where their origins are. It's been something that I've been spending a lot of time studying myself, actually. And I really love learning about the numbers. I love learning about how we could apply the numbers and their meanings. KA, welcome to the community. Glad to have you here. Jody bought her daughter some Digibyte, and her daughter said, "Fuck you, Mom. I don't want to get rich." I'm just kidding, Jody. That's funny, though. How's it going, Lucy? Oh, shit, really? Jay, your daughter's into crypto because of my work? Or that's awesome. Damn, that'd be crazy. No, I didn't meet Bjork. Bjork is a high level. She's definitely in the she's a witch. Let's just keep it at that. Yeah, living in Iceland is very expensive, especially if you're coming from a lesser economy. Nah, I can't go to Florida. It's way too hot. I'm not into that weather, but I salute Florida for not letting the New World Order completely take over. Good for them. I really wish I could play music, but every time I played music, I would get a copyright claim, so I can't do that anymore. Sorry, guys. Maybe, like, you know, from now on, you guys could just play your own music while you're listening to this. Maybe that would be a good time. So you can watch the documentary Europa: The Last Battle for free on a lot of platforms, but I believe the easiest platform to find it on is archive.org. So archive.org, and also I believe BitChute might have it for free. Okay, I'm glad that we're good. We have 370 people. That's amazing. I think that might be the biggest current live stream that we've done so far. Teresa Chai. Okay. So this might be a big red pill for everyone because I haven't spoken about this in a long time, but Teresa is a very nice person. I know you've emailed me many times. You're definitely a high vibrational being, so I am gonna answer this question. But she says, "May I ask what you think about Trump's role in this whole QFS, the Great Reset?" So, Teresa, you're gonna have to really dive deep into what I'm about to say and have almost zero emotional reaction to it. And that goes for everyone else here who's about to hear what I'm about to say. Okay. Donald Trump and every other politician is a temporary employee, essentially a Hollywood actor who is predetermined to fit that role because of the New World Order's plan to psychologically subvert the masses. So the masses are the people who are most likely not attracted to the type of information that we've been talking about today. Now, what's interesting about this Trump character and what's interesting about the concept of QFS is the quantum financial system is a psyop that was essentially designed by the people behind Charlie Ward. Now, Charlie Ward and his team of people have been consistently saying Trump will become president again and watch, like you'll see, and this, that, and the whatever. And okay, so I do not think that has any merit. I think it's just a psyop to get a type of person who would be attracted to that type of information caught up in a trap, essentially believing partially that government will be helpful or that government is good. This idea that there's a part of government, a tiny little sliver of good guys that are essentially here to help us, that is complete bullshit. You just have to think about the words here. Government actually is a colloquial terminology between gubernare or governare and menti or mentis, which literally means mind control. How could any good guy want to work under something where the actual term of its whole plan is mind control? Sounds like a cult to me. So QFS, quantum financial system, is bullshit. Nasara Jasara, it is bullshit. It is just to get a type of person who would fall for that information because it sounds promising. It sounds great. It sounds amazing. Thinking that the Federal Reserve is going to go away somehow it's such a pipe dream. And people have fell for it in many other times in history. There was people preaching about these constitutional takeovers, and this isn't new. It's funny how it's resurfaced with the work of QAnon and the work of Charlie Ward. But again, these people are merely agents for the system. They don't have your best interest in mind. They don't have my best interest in mind. They are simply just talking heads for a narrative, and that narrative is completely imprisoned by the waiting game of what they preach. I do not like people who just keep saying, just wait, it'll eventually happen. This will eventually. No, that's not reality. Reality, it's funny too, and this is a big red pill. It's funny how these types of people who talk about QFS and who are on Team Charlie Ward and follow the QAnon thing, they will consistently make fun of liberals for waiting for handouts for their government. But on the same end of it, they are sitting around waiting for Trump to come back as their Lord and Savior because of a stolen election or whatever the fuck nonsense that they're talking about. The Great Reset part of your question, the Great Reset has been going on for hundreds of years. It's nothing new. When the World Economic Forum came out and said the Great Reset and talking about you'll own nothing and be happy, that's not new. They created the mortgage like almost 100 years ago. They've put people on payment plans where the government essentially owns everything. This has been done for fucking decades. It's nothing new. So it's insane to me how this Great Reset idea, people think they're going to wake up one day and there's just going to be this brand new system. That's not how it works. The system will slowly just be what it was always. Once the Federal Reserve became the chief head honcho of the entire global economic regime, the fiat scam system, ever since then, we have been enslaved by it, and the only way to be not enslaved by it would be a global awakening. A global awakening is the only thing that will create change. A government will not save us. A government has no desire to change their system because their system is what gives them paychecks. Their entire incentive about being a politician or working in government is because they are incentivized by having taxes. Taxes are where they confiscate our money from us so they can maintain a paycheck. That system will never change until humanity wakes up. So the Great Reset or the new financial system, it will always be bad. It will always be a draconian, more worse off scenario, and it will continue to compound and become worse as long as people are sucked into the narrative. And the narrative is very duality based. It's either I don't know what the fuck's going on, or I sort of know what's going on, but I'm falling for some psyops. And you have to be in a very like a rare sliver of what's going on in between both of those things to see the light, you know? And I hope that answered your ideas and your questions in regards to all of that. And again, it might be totally opposite of what you believe, and that's completely fine. But that's my take on it. My first red pill moment. My first red pill moment was learning about animal agriculture. That was my first red pill moment. But I don't want to talk about that today. Sorry. Nobody's forced to get injected with any jabs. People take it. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I don't believe in the age of Aquarius, and I don't believe in this idea of the Great Awakening. It's a very multifaceted concept, and it's individually based, and it just is what it is. David asks a very interesting question. He says, do you think the states will split up in the near future? I don't think so, but I do know that FEMA wants to do that. I know that FEMA wants to essentially break us down into like 12 sections or 11 sections, and it'll essentially be based on socioeconomics, and it'll be based on morals, and it'll be based on some pretty interesting things. But they already know what they're doing. They know what they're working with. Remember, everything's an algorithm. That's why I don't like to use social media too much. Because when they hear all of you guys talking about like being against the mask or being against the vax or whatever it is, you know, they already know the sentiment of the country that they're working with by taking all the data they've aggregated from all the social media. So all of the Twitter, all of the Reddit, all of that stuff. Every time you write something on the internet, it is essentially being confiscated and sold as data, and that information is what feeds back to the elites to know exactly how to plan their next move. That's why they design social media, so that you give them everything for free. They built all the facial recognition technology based off of us giving them free pictures of ourselves. They built incredible location detection technology because they let us give it to them ourselves. Everything about the algorithm is being fed by what we do, and nobody even is awake to it. So I've learned that it's better to just not give them what they want, you know, just stay off the grid as much as possible. But don't think that there's 100% off the grid. That comes back to the conversation about privacy coins and all that bullshit. Like, there's nothing private about the internet. Well, we're getting our pullback in the market, at least the start of a pullback. That would be pretty interesting if we start to see an actual more dramatic pullback over the weekend. But we don't want to talk about crypto right now while we have all these interesting talks going on. 385 people, incredible. Appreciate you, Blandon. Yeah, that's a good, Ness. That's a really good comment to make. Like, don't wait for the age of Aquarius. Just start now. Like, I think that also comes along with that idea that I was talking before about like waiting for this QFS or waiting to be like forgiven for our debts. Like, come on, man. What the fuck? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, every day you wait is a lost opportunity. Like, you want to become the greatest version of yourself, get the fuck up and make shit happen. Like, make the change happen. If you're overweight, fucking make that change happen. Like, you know, like if you really want to be the greatest version of yourself, don't wait. Don't fucking wait. Like, just do it. Just you are the greatest version of you are the universe, you know, you are the sun. Everything revolves around you. So just make it happen. And it's possible. You just have to be dedicated. Don't wait for like everyone's acceptance and to hear everyone's opinion. It kind of comes back to why so many people make mistakes in this market, in this crypto market. And what I'm about to say, it's not to like shine a light on me, but it's just to maybe help other people. And it's this basic idea, okay? If you wake up and you watch 20 different YouTubers give their technical analysis, and then you're not even sure how to do technical analysis, what I believe is going to happen to you is you're not actively doing anything. You're just consuming and consuming and consuming, and you're uncertain of what's to happen because you're waiting on all these people's opinions. When you're focused so much on everyone's fucking opinion, you're never creating your own thoughts. You're never designing your own reality. You're living vicariously through all these influencers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I try to focus on teaching technical analysis, because if I could teach people how to do the analysis, then they could do it on their own. And I think that that's a gift, you know? It's a gift to give people a skill or a talent, because this isn't the last bull run. There's going to be another bull run after this. And if you learn right now, yeah, maybe you have no money to get into this market right now. That's completely fine. But you have 3 years now to position yourself, make good choices every single day, and position yourself for the next bull run. And then maybe you'll be like part of those people who could put $1,000 in the market and generate $1 million. It's going to exist. All these shitcoin, like altcoins that are out there that are generating these crazy returns, you need to remember, like, they're designed that way to be able to transfer wealth into people who've always been having wealth transferred into their life. It's just part of reality. You just have to ride the wave. So the Shemitah is every 7 years. Nothing helps against... I won't even say it. I won't even say it. Because what that does when people, I'll give you guys some words of wisdom. When people are out there being like, this one thing will help you detox against the jab, you know what they're doing? Now someone who's weak is going to contemplate, oh, well, I might as well just get the fucking jab then, because then someone wrote a YouTube comment that says this will detoxify against. No, that is insanity. You're literally taking fucking poison and you're shooting it into the blood. Like, what are you going to detoxify from? Think about it. Just fucking think. Think. Think with your thoughts and your heart. Like, think with your heart. Don't even think with your fucking mind. Like, save yourself. This is crazy. This is like people who are like, well, you could eat potato chips and then all you need to do is take this one little pill and everything will be fucking fine. Because no, dude, that's not how life works. Like, the jab is literally designed to become part of you on the cellular level. Cellular. You're not going to be able to detoxify from that. Like, wake up. People just don't even know what they're talking about when it comes to detoxification. It's hilarious. Something that I studied very in depth way before I even got into finances. Honestly, the only thing you could really do to detoxify is a dry fast. And even then, most people aren't ready for dry fasting. So If you're not going to do a mono fruit fast or a water fast that's broken up in between fruit juice, or I don't want to get into it because it's too much. But these people that are talking about like you could detoxify against, bro, even flu shots, there's no detoxification to get out of that. It's designed that way. It's a fucking syringe you shoot into your blood. Period. End of story. It goes cellular within seconds. That's why they do it the way they do it. It's the phallus of Osiris, okay? That's all the jab is. It's the phallus of Osiris. Please understand that, and then you'll be able to expand your consciousness substantially. I expect a lot of people to drop off now, but that's completely fine because that truth needs to be heard. Damn, JVB says thoughts on spirit cooking. Fuck. Well, I'll let you know something right now, okay? Every time that you're eating animals, you're taking part in spirit cooking. Period. End of story. Because all those animals are shot up with high levels of adrenaline before they're murdered. So you are essentially consuming adrenochrome. Okay? And a lot of these female cows that essentially stop reproducing, what they do is they're forcefully impregnating them so they could create milk. And then once they're essentially worthless, once they stop creating the milk at the level that's necessary to facilitate a business model, they murder that animal. So that animal has high levels of colostrum inside of them. Their mammary glands are still in the process of producing milk. So every time you eat a cow, you're part of spirit cooking. You're part of a ritual sacrifice. It's plain and simple. But nobody wants to hear that shit because they're like, oh, but I love burgers. It's like, okay, good luck, bro. I don't actually have any thoughts. I don't really have any thoughts on BlackRock. Yeah. I get it. I get what BlackRock's about, but I don't know why they're so isolated in the last year. Why so many people are trying to isolate them as some sort of agency that like owns the world or whatever. They're just part of like every elite system of confiscation and corruption of the financial system, and they do it legally because they're a leg of government essentially, because they are hired out by government to essentially be money managers. So it's amazing that once you get to a point where you can start working within government, you're essentially allowed to break the law. Or they'll create laws that protect the fraudulence of the organization. So Hassan Tazi says, thank you for being the lighthouse in the storm. Wow, I appreciate that, brother. Oh, man, I lost your comment. Jeez, man, 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing the comments. Well, anyways, thank you so much, Hassan. I believe you said something about my course in there, and I am very grateful for you to be a supporter of the Mastermind course. And I really hope that it's been bringing you valuable knowledge and helping you with your investment thesis. Much love to you, brother. Oh man, once you talk about Q, you have people defending their own government. That's amazing. All right, where do I get to people actually asking questions? Because this is getting kind of off the rails. Oh, so Mike Stro, we have 400 people in here. That's amazing. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. We got a question, what's your take on precious metals? So that's really interesting. My take on precious metals is kind of interesting at this time because I've said lots of maybe what could be perceived as negative things, but in actuality, I just think that they're a useless investment when you have crypto. And I see that there's this idea out there that there's like confiscation and there might be like a big, cyber pandemic, but people need to understand that the only value that precious metals have is backed by the dollar. So if 99% of our entire economy is already digitized, even on a fiat system, and we are planning to move 100% digital with CBDCs and potential, just basically a cashless society, where do you see these precious metals fitting in with the future? Now, I can see an obvious place that crypto would fit in. So for me, it's more about focusing on the prize. It's like, I think Warren Buffett said this, and I thought it was a really brilliant quote. He essentially said, I like to look at maybe 3 to 6 companies. And he said that when you get to the 7th, like let's just say you invested in 7 different cryptos, he said that your 7th best idea is typically not the one that makes you rich. And I said, holy shit, that's so right. He basically said, if you just put all of your money on your best idea, that's the one that's going to generate you the best results. That's the one. And how simple was that? You know what I mean? So we're at a time right now where precious metals they have zero utility. You can't use them. You can't go to a grocery store and buy something with a silver coin. You can't pay for gasoline. And in a year, maybe 5 years, there will be no physical currency whatsoever. So they're going to replace all the ATMs and they're going to replace all these gas stations that have like accepting cash. They're going to get rid of all that shit. It's just going to be a fingerprint scanner or a face scanner. And that's what they're going to be using to determine your identity. Like, I'm just trying to get ahead of the future. Like, I'm trying to position myself with what makes the most sense. If it was 1975 and you asked me that question, I would say go 100% in silver. Silver and gold right now are like, it's the greatest investment of a lifetime. But if we're talking about an economy that definitely goes deflationary every Shemitah, we're about to go deflationary in this Shemitah, and that means that the precious metals are going to take a huge hit. So if you're someone who really cares about precious metals and you're trying to position yourself in silver, and I would be more focused on silver out of all of them, just because I've studied a little bit about the actual supply and demand for it on a, let's just say on a higher level, like not just like a mint, like where they're how do I say this? The components where silver is used on a level of all of this technology and this breakout of technology that we have, even into the third world, silver is basically running out of its supply. So what's going on here is I believe silver will reach a point of scarcity that is really rare. And when it becomes really rare, then I could see there being a reason behind its increase in value, but its increase in value is only based on the DXY at the time. So if we're in a position of heavy deflation, then you're going to see silver slip below $20 again. So perhaps just wait. If you're looking to get into precious metals, just give it some time. Like give it like 2 more years, and then you might be able to get into a position where the ROI would make sense. But at this time, it's a really shitty buying decision, in my opinion. You'd be much better just getting into crypto responsibly and dollar cost averaging into crypto and leaving that precious metals idea on the sidelines until we go full-blown deflation and we start to see the market bottom. That's my take on precious metals. So I'm not against precious metals. If you like holding shiny coins in your hand, go for it. Just, I guess I like to travel light. Oh, John, sliding with Sasquatch. I appreciate you for that, brother. I appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, depopulation will happen. It'll probably start to kick in, not noticeably, but I believe we will start to see some reactions to these jabs, probably starting by October. Once the air starts to get a little colder, once things start to get a little more alkaline, you'll start to see an increase in reactions to people. How do I say it? I mean, essentially what's going on here, if you wanted to know like the more scientific breakdown, and of course science is a scam, but I'll do my best to break it down in lay terms. Essentially what's going to happen is right now, while we're in the summertime, the air is very acidic, and because most people are acidic because they overeat processed garbage, think negative thoughts, and don't take care of themselves, essentially what happens is they can go through the summertime unscathed, even if they're getting flu shots and they're getting the C word jab. Now, when we transition and start to get more alkaline air moving into the wintertime, you will start to see an increase in the exosomal activity. So the exosomes will start to basically want to get the fuck out of the system, and their immune system is so compromised already that they're going to start to degrade. And what will happen is the organs will start failing. And that's when the body starts kicking into attempting to detoxify, but it can't detoxify because it's so broken down. And the jab helps with that substantially. So yeah, you'll start to see the depopulation, and they're going to push the boosters and all that bullshit moving into the fall time anyways. So, yep. Yeah, Dr. Savage, thanks for putting these people in their place about this Q bullshit, because it's an absolute nonsense. Yo, Alex, I appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much. Much love to you. Much love, Jane. Yeah, Justin, the 888 fib. Yeah, that's classic stuff, man. When I started teaching people about that 888 fib on the Fibonacci retracement tool, I started getting much crazier buying entries. Like, people started emailing me just being like, holy shit, I bought the bottom. It's crazy when you get those killer entries on that 888 fib. Oh man, I love it. I love like having like just one little thing that could change somebody's trading or change someone's perspective. Just being able to answer a question that is technically based, where you can just do like 2 seconds worth of work on a chart and be able to figure out when to buy. It's really awesome. Yeah, Justin Charles, that's definitely a true quote. Yeah, yo, Ian, if you're still here, bro, and you see anyone talking about Q, just fucking wrap it up, dude. I'm over that shit. We're never talking about that again here. People are being children. Like, grow the fuck up, man. Live your own life. Like, don't worry about all these psyops. It's nonsense. Alex Cooney, appreciate you. Much love, brother. So Juan, September 6th, yep, could happen, but we need to see, we just need to see what the chart gives us, like, let's just see what comes our way. But when it comes to bottoms, I'm anticipating the pullback to come into mid-September. So that would be the optimal time frame, in my opinion. Yeah, I would love to chat with John Levy. Me and John have actually done an email exchange, so I have reached out to him and he's wrote back. I just don't know how we're going to be able to connect. He does very different work than I do, but I believe, we're both on the same level when it comes to just consciousness. So it'd be great to have a live stream or a podcast with him somehow. So if any of you out there know John Levy and could get in contact with him, send him this live stream and, maybe we can make something happen. What cryptos are you most heavily weighted in? Well, Bitcoin. I always like to maintain a 50% portfolio in Bitcoin, but I bought all my Bitcoin at around $7,000. So again, I'm in a totally different position from most people. I am looking to be heavily adding to my Ethereum position because I have done some analysis lately, which has brought me to a Ethereum all-time high that is pretty fucking crazy. So I will be sharing that with Patreon once I can nail all of the decode and all of the gematria regarding the prediction level. But I think Ethereum is going to outperform more than the predictions that other people have given. Let's just leave it at that. So, yeah, I want to get heavier in ETH due to that, but I don't really know exactly. I don't know exactly where my portfolio is going to lie with the ETH play. I do see Theta and T Fuel still maintaining a high percentage in my portfolio as well. So it'll be like, half Bitcoin. I trade heavy Bitcoin too, so I'm a big Bitcoin trader. And with that, yeah, I always like to maintain a portfolio that is sensible. But also I do plan to do a move with my Bitcoin where I will flip it into XRP. And then when I flip it into XRP, I will be doing some pretty crazy trades with that, but that's a different story. Oh yeah, and also Joe out there, Joe Arnold, I tried giving you a shout out earlier, but yeah, it was actually pretty messed up. We got cut off the live stream, and I think it's because I tried pronouncing the city you're from. But anyways, Joe wanted me to mention something about the trading course that I'm going to be doing. And I forgot his question exactly, but it was more along the lines of when it will release and what's going on with that. So I'm trying to get a trading course released by late October. I want to have it ready by the November Patreon, so before Patreon goes live in November. And I'm going to be giving everyone who's joined my mastermind course a discount on the trading course. And then I will also be opening up a new Patreon tier. It'll be a different Patreon tier, which gives you access to a trading Discord. And I will be giving live swing trades on that. I will not be giving anyone trading advice. I will not be taking on any private clients for trading. I'm really trying to stay away from that shit. What I'm focused on is providing educational content to help people make their own trades. But the reason that I want to go in that route of a trading course and then focusing on trading is because when the bull market ends, it's a trader's world. Traders do better in a bear market than they do in a bull market, which is crazy but true. And the better you are at trading, the more you could accumulate while you're dealing with a bearish trend. So the whole community that I'm running, if we want to be active for the next 3 years, 4 years, we're going to have to flip to a more trading mindset. We're going to have to flip to a more, we're just going to have to completely change our whole paradigm. So, yep, it's kind of a very multifaceted thing, but I want to focus on it because I think it'll be very helpful for everyone to be flipped into that mindset. It's kind of like trading the volatile swings over the last 5 months or so has been life-changing for people if they could calculate when those tops and when those bottoms will come in. With the bear market, we're going to be dealing with a lot of blood for over a year. We're going to be seeing a downtrend that could last 365 days. And it's still opportunity. So I believe that a lot of money to be made. And since I was a trader before I was a heavy investor, it'll be peanuts for me. Like I'll be making a lot of money during the bear market because I know how to trade already. So it'll be nice for me to set people up before the blow off top happens by releasing the course before December. And then it'll also help people for alt season. So we'll be able to make a shit ton of money, and then we'll be able to cash out those gains from those trades and then flip it into fiat. And then we'll be able to keep a little bit of our accounts to be able to short the market on the downside. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, it is Red Pill Friday for sure. Red Pill Friday. I love that. All right, let's get past the jab talk. Let's get past all that too. Okay, have fun eating your raw grass-fed beef, bud. Yeah, I know I'm brutal, but someone has to do it. All right, thanks for telling me I'm wrong. That's interesting. Don't you love when someone tells you you're wrong? I love that shit. You're wrong. Well, that was a good argument. Jesus wasn't a real person, dude. Jesus was a fabricated idea. Jesus is you know who Jesus is? He's a painting inside of a church. That's who Jesus is. He's a portrait of Caesar Borgia. So, Katie Crypto, you mentioned something interesting, but if I took I'm saying this because I think it'll be a good ending point to the whole idea. You know, let's just try to get back to our hearts, not so much in our heads. And what I'm about to say, it has nothing to do with you, but I think you brought up something interesting. So you said, depends on how you kill the animal. The adrenaline is there. If the animal is aware of what's about to happen or is not killed instantly and or bled out properly. So if I took a human being and I practiced that process, do you think it's different? I'm wondering, like, if we consider killing a human and the adrenaline would therefore go throughout the bloodstream, and that would be considered adrenochrome, or is there a way to be unaware of your life about to end? Especially if you're kept in a cage and you're beaten and you're prodded and you're given electric shock, and you essentially have a bunch of men walking around you who believe that you're just a product, you're worthless, you're forcefully raped and impregnated to create milk. So if we just did that to humans all day, I'm just wondering, like, where would we stand on that morally? Again, I'll ask the question. Like, if we walked into a warehouse full of women who just gave birth to babies and then their newborn babies were taken away from them because the newborn baby was essentially stealing the product, and then all you saw in that warehouse was a bunch of chairs filled with women with basically taking their breast milk from them and putting it into chambers where it was then put through a system of trying to clean it out so that people could eat cereal. Would there be any awareness in that process? I'm just wondering, like, where do people stand on that? Because when I looked at it from a different perspective, I woke the fuck up. I couldn't look at that shit like food anymore. I saw an animal the same way I saw a human, and my morals completely got redirected. And that really helped me get into my heart and away from my head, because I was stuck in my head. And when I left that space, I fucking, like, it was beautiful. It was like a phoenix rising out of the ashes. It was beautiful. So just being able to see things equally and not overthink it, you're able to actually see what's happening and not be so caught up in this speciesism bullshit that everyone is so caught up in. Again, nothing to do with you, Katie. It's just the question, leaving the question out there and seeing how people resonate with it. Because I don't see there to be any difference. It is what it is. And I believe, let's go one step deeper on the red pill, okay? Just go one step deeper. If the elites look at us like we are essentially a product, that's very similar to the way that we normal people look at animals. It's essentially just a product. So the way that Bill Gates looks at all of us is that we're just there to essentially make more money for someone else while we're an indentured servant to them. And they could confiscate our wealth via the taxation system. It's very interesting. The way that we look at a cow and see a cheeseburger is probably the same way that they look at us and see a newborn baby ready to be sacrificed. It's a very similar place that the mind can go. That's the red pill of all red pills. Do 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 do. Yeah, so this idea about silver, and I brought up earlier about how it could be scarce because we need it in a lot of stuff, definitely needed in mining equipment. I completely agree with that, and that was something that I mentioned earlier. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it will increase in value, okay? Like, I'll look at it like this, okay? The housing market has increased by 300 to 400% across the board. But did the value of the house go up? No. People used it more. There's more broken parts of the house. The paint is starting to fade away. The outside is getting sun damage. The windows might start getting a little messed up from wind and storms. No. It goes up because of speculation. Silver and gold and these precious metals, they're just like stocks. They go up because of speculation. That is it. Everything is speculation. Yeah, like I said, go for it. If you like precious metals, go for it. But I was asked a question and I gave an answer. Boo-doo. I am not really into the idea of investing in real estate. I think real estate is like a really hit or miss thing, and you have to be very good at timing that. Valentina says, would I be FOMOing if I bought Solana right now? Absolutely. That is like the worst FOMO that anyone could possibly do. Buying at an all-time high is FOMOing, period. So you got to be careful with that. Whenever you're buying at an all-time high, you're FOMOing. Okay, what is going on? Lucy B, I appreciate that. Much love. David, but the white hats. That's funny. Oh, man. It's funny how like certain concepts could just be so like it could really hurt people. It's so weird. People want the red pill, but they don't want to swallow it. It's funny. It's so funny. Throttle Syndicate, I appreciate you. Much love. No, Ethereum is not going to 50K. Definitely not. Not 50K. Not even over 20. So don't get that crazy. Yeah, when you guys are doing Gematria, you really need to make sure that you're sticking to the 4 base ciphers and the Chaldean. And then once you've gotten good at using those 4 ciphers and the Chaldean, you can maybe mess around with the Francis Bacon, but like don't take an English word and then throw it into like the Hebrew cipher or something. It's useless, very, very much useless. And unless you're using a word that's been translated, and again, when you translate from Hebrew characters back into English, you're going to fuck it all up. So if you're going to do Gematria with Hebrew, you need to be copy and pasting the actual Hebrew word written out in the Hebrew characters. But if you're using English words in those ciphers, you're wasting your time. Oh, this is a good one. Seraphim Bearer says, "Don't talk about something you don't know." Wow. But you're still here? You're still here listening? That's interesting. Make up your mind. Appreciate you, Ben Bliss. Much love. Liberty Prime, you got the whole family involved. I think the guy and Seraphim Bearer need to you guys need to start dating or something. Maybe you guys were designed for each other. You guys got to make out in another room. Jonathan Perry official, when will this course you're talking about start? I believe you're mentioning the trading course, because my mastermind course is already done and already released, but my trading course, I'm hoping to have that ready by the end of October. I will do my best to expedite it to get it done before October, but I'm really shooting for a November release date. So, yeah. That's my attempt. I will do my best to make sure I get that out to you. Lucas, you asked me, do I believe in miracles? Well, I believe that we manifest all of the outcomes we seek if we allow them. I don't believe that things just happen for no reason. I'm a firm believer that we ask and we receive. So ask and you shall receive. And that is the basics of manifestation. And I'm a heavy believer in the process of manifestation. Actually, I don't even like to use the word believe. I just exist within it. I have created my entire reality based off of manifestation, every single aspect of it, down to what's going on today. So, yep. Liberty Prime says, whack. My wife wants to know your thoughts about space if you think it's not real. Well, saying space is not real is just based off of the ideologies, or let's just say the narrative that NASA has given us. So let's just rewind and set the stage. I believe NASA's a scam, and I believe the way they portray space is bullshit. Now, that would come off to the average person as me saying that space is not real, but that's not actually true. I believe that we are encased in a firmament dome, and that every time we see that these quote-unquote rocket ships try to escape the dome, we see this effect on the dome, which kind of looks like the way a bubble looks when it's blown in the sunshine. It kind of has this like iridescent vibe to it. So if you just look at the, whenever Tesla is like shooting this bullshit into quote unquote outer space, it's creating this rippling effect. And that is because the firmament is preventing them from leaving. So this is why they've started utilizing the terminology of orbit, because they want us to believe that there's a globe Earth and there's something spinning around it. And because it's spinning around in a particular way, it will maintain itself indefinitely. And, it's a very amazing psyop, because the science behind it is so sophisticated, the average person wouldn't even be able to articulate what's going on. So for me, I see it as a very multifaceted concept. I know that there is a sun or a greater light, and then I understand the concept of what the moon could be, which could be Earth, and a reflection off of the firmament dome. And this reflection is creating an optical illusion because of the glass structure or the crystalline structure of whatever this firmament is, and the optical illusions because there might be multiple suns. So there might actually be two suns, and there might be two other lesser lights, celestial bodies, and these are all creating a massive optical illusion when we look up. So it's really hard to determine, because we have what we're given, and what we're given is the gatekeeper of NASA and any other space programs that are essentially all globalist New World Order Jesuit shills. And then at the same time, you have us. You have normal people who don't have the technology to just go up and see what's actually happening. We're not even allowed to go to fucking Antarctica, for God's sakes. Like, we're so controlled on what we're capable of doing. So I rather be in the camp that says I don't know and that I'm full of wonder. But what I don't agree with is the ideas behind the narratives that NASA has given us. And I believe that one final other thing, Liberty Prime, is that the tombstone of Wernher von Braun was very, very telling. Having his tombstone is like the biggest fuck you to NASA and to people who believe in a globe Earth. So I'll leave it at that. Go study what's written on his tombstone. If you haven't, go look at that Bible verse and it tells you the truth. Universe Creator, what's your take on shorting crypto? I would not short in a bull market. You have to be very fucking good at trading. And if you get in with anything above 3x leverage, you're probably asking for it. So definitely when it comes to shorting in a bull run, you have to be on top of your game. So if you're not on top of your game, then don't do it. Yeah, I mean, you're gambling essentially. So Teresa Chai says, I would appreciate you doing a video on a handful of cryptos to focus on during this potential pullback in mid-September for those of us who are new to you. Yeah, for sure, Teresa. Well, one thing is I already made a video called my 3 favorite cryptos for the 2021 bull run. One of them was Cardano, and, we saw it hit all-time high recently, so that ended up being a good call. Another one I'm really interested in would be VeChain, Zilliqa, and also T-Fuel. So, yep, those are some, but I believe in my Patreon, I will definitely be making more exclusive content going into the buying that I will be doing and the projects that I'll be focused on when we get our pullback. But until then, we just got to wait for our pullback. Well, so Evan, what you wrote about Saint Francis and the white Jesus. So I believe I talked about it on my last live stream, but it goes very similar to this, and we could go backwards. So the picture of Jesus that most of us see of a white guy with a beard and long hair, and he's holding the 666 hand sign. This Jesus is actually the son of a pope. His name is Caesar Borgia. Now, before Caesar Borgia, we had about 300 to 400 years of Jesus Christ as a baby. So it was baby Jesus. And the baby Jesus is being plagiarized from Eros. And Eros was essentially what was plagiarized for what is called Cupid. So Valentine's Day, basically a little baby with wings who shoots you in the ass. This Eros word is where we get the term erotic from, or eroticism. So from very early on, the Greeks were utilizing the word eroticism being tied to a fucking baby, okay? And this is where it gets really off the rails, right? Because the two cultures that essentially created the modern parasite system we have today are Greece and Italy. Mostly Rome through the Roman Empire. And they were freaks. They were fucked up people. They were mostly pedophiles. They were into having sex with animals. Anyways, most of you might already know that. But that is the origins of baby Jesus. It comes from Eros. And then before that, you have even more. And it keeps getting plagiarized on and on and on, going back to Sumerian times. So essentially, you basically get to this point where you find out that Jesus is the same character that has been plagiarized for thousands of years before him. The same thing with Noah. There was a Sumerian Noah thousands of years before we had the Christian Noah. So it's just plagiarizing of stories. But yeah, Evan, what you wrote about Saint Francis, that's also important. So thank you for sharing that. So Justin, yeah, the Bible is basically a spell casting book. It's very esoteric, and if you have the eyes to see what's actually going on, you're going to be able to utilize that to be able to grow substantially in your understanding. I actually read Genesis and it made me start crying. It was like one of the most fucking mind-blowing things. But I needed to be at this state that I'm in now. You know, I needed to be able to be at this ability to see what's going on with my pineal gland and not with my eyes to the sides that lie. So when those eyes on the sides are running the show, the pineal body doesn't have activation. You need to get into the heart, you know? That heart activates that pineal body. And then you could read anything and perceive anything in a completely different dimension. But you know, when it comes to the Bible, like it's a lot of bullshit. You know, you have to, Genesis is insane. It's amazing. But the hidden book of Thomas or the book of Thomas and the book of Enoch, that's really where you want to be doing some research. You know, any one of you here that's at a higher level, which I would assume most of you are if you've stuck around this long in the live stream, definitely read the Book of Enoch. It's mind-blowing. You could even do a YouTube video, spoken word of it, like where it's like a audiobook. Sorry, I meant to say audiobook of the Book of Enoch. Amazing. Amazing literature. So, Hannah Bashir, if you don't want me to mention that similarity, then you're not ready yet, you know? You need people to be able to bring it up as the truth that it is in order to grow. You know, wherever you're at with it. And this isn't pushing any agendas. It just is what it is. Okay, I got to the point where it's all about people talking about food, so I knew this would happen. Whatever. Let's move on. Jack Paulo, I appreciate you. Chef DeMarcus says something really interesting. I would love to talk to you more about it, brother. You mentioned we have animal DNA, so it's inner struggle, though. So, DeMarcus, I mean, I would assume we've had dialogues about this, about 666 and carbon and DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and the idea of Jacob's ladder, and all of these, you know. So remember, Chef DeMarcus, I have something that might be very wise, and it's something that, you know, like it's like some Yoda shit. You feel me? So what this is the person with the better microscope holds the truth. The same thing goes for a telescope. When NASA is the only motherfucker with the telescope, they get to control the truth. So I'm not denying that we share animal DNA. I believe that we share everything with everything. I think we have fucking ladybugs in our, you know, we share everything with everything. This rock that's on screen right now, this rock is our ancestors. You know, this rock is our ancestors. We share everything with everything. We're all one at the end of the day. So if we want to keep just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, we could do that. We could do that. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that we could all go there. Yo, what's up, Roach Killer? We got a legend in the house, everyone. Appreciate you showing up, my man. Stefan. So, Liberty Prime, I believe I answered your question about space. The most indigenous tribes eat a diet that's predominantly plant-based. Elliot, you said you see crypto as a trader, not an investment. I see crypto through multiple lenses, but I was a trader before I was an educator. Let's just put it like that. Ooh, James, this is a great question. You said, how do you differentiate what you see from truth and whatever you want to see or make up your mind? The truth is yours. My truths are not your truths, and they shouldn't be your truths. So what I feel that holds the highest, whatever I hold into the highest position as my truth is mine. It doesn't need to be yours. There's no universal truths. And once we can get there as a species, we will start to make leaps in world peace and being able to work together. Because this shit about like, it's my way or the highway, that's nonsense. Here's the thing though, like this is a forum for asking questions and for being open-minded. And someone asks a question and then someone else responds back saying, you're wrong. I mean, what the fuck? You're asking someone for their truths, right? They're going to give you their truths. Now, someone saying you're wrong is essentially saying you're not operating under the same type of truth that I decide to operate under. That's madness. When I really started to expand consciously is when 1 + 1 no longer equaled 2. For me now, 1 + 1 equals 3. And that's why I could outperform the market. That's why I could help so many people become better investors. That's why I could help people as a life coach. Because I'm no longer operating under this mundane, nonsensical way of looking at reality. Because in real life, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. I decide whatever the fuck value I want to give 1 + 1. And that's what makes you the greatest version of yourself. When you decide what your truth is, and then you hold that as your truth. Don't let anyone else tell you what the truth is, because you know it. You feel it. If you connect with your heart, you will have the truth. It'll be there for you. I'm going to give this 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to move on. I have some things to do today. Whoa. That's a crazy question. Yeah, I look at Jesus as the body, the human body, and I look at God as the architect or consciousness. And the becoming the Jesus body is allowing the connection into source. Don't worry about it. How much do you think the pullback will be? I believe I've shared that on almost every single video I've done, so just go ahead and watch the videos, brother. Oh, 432 hertz. The Hidden Book of John. Can you shoot me an email where I could check that out? I don't know about that. Yes, Sanaz, I mean, I would assume you were born in a Muslim family, and I know you're from a Muslim country. Must be really interesting to have you break down what reality is like during this transition. Tam, sending you love. You said, do you believe in magic? Of course I believe in magic. What, like, the news, what do you think the news is? And I'm not saying this to you, Tam, but I'm just saying, in general. What do you think the news is? The news is magic. It's spellcasting. Every single time that you see something coming out of a television screen, it's magic. Disney, that's magic. Hollywood movies, it's magic. It's all magic. They're just flexing it on us. They're showing us the truth. When you see all these movies about alien invasions and shit, they're just showing you what's happening. They're showing you what's happened. Oh, no. Got people telling us that Jesus is the only truth. All right. So, Loan, how are you? Says, a friend told me the Book of Thomas is dark. She didn't like it. You want to know why she probably didn't like it? Because in the Book of Thomas, Jesus was exactly like the way that I'm talking to everyone. He was giving out the fucking red pill, and nobody wanted to swallow it. That was the problem. In the hidden Book of Thomas, Jesus Christ was a baller. He just didn't let anyone get away with talking nonsense. And he would keep slapping people over the head with that red pill. And they hated it. Because the truth hurts. Well, the Book of Thomas isn't really about being true or not, or it's none of that shit. It's just about the dialogues, the conversations. That's what matters. Yeah, King James was a classic Freemason. Beta G, I appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Quran and Islam? It's all the same. It's all the same. They're all a big cult. And they're predominantly tied to Saturn and Jupiter. And through that cult, they have figured out a way to spellcast their followers into believing in essentially the full-blown takeover of them as beings, as free sovereign beings, to elect some supreme power, all the rights to you and to your thoughts and to your choices. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's slavery. And through that cult, they have maintained a structure through their churches or through their holy buildings. And then they've designed a hierarchical system of, bishops, cardinals. And in the Muslim religion, they have the same thing going on. It's really upsetting once you learn the truth. Stephen Andrews, yeah. God gave Lamst is like my favorite content creator. He's one of the few people I watch his videos of. HB, thank you, appreciate it. Vincent, much love to you, brother. I've never seen Fifth Element. Is Fifth Element good? I need everyone to let me know if Fifth Element is good. I'll check that out sometime because I had someone else tell me about that. Alex Me says, I'm trying to make 200 a day trading. Don't try to... Yo, Alex, if you're still here, bro, here's some words of wisdom. I shared them today in the Patreon too. All right? When you're trying to make money, okay, you're gonna really fuck it up. What you need to do is try to seek freedom. When you seek freedom, that money will start showing up. But when you start saying, I'm trying to make 200 a day, You need to watch your spell casting, okay? Because what you're doing is you're saying that you can't make 200 a day. All right. So what we're going to do moving forward is I'm going to have you say that I will make 200 a day. And don't say the way that you're going to do it because you're limiting yourself. Okay. Trading is going to limit you. You'll be making that 200 a day, brother. But don't say I'm trying, and don't just single it out to one way. You want to have multiple streams of allowing in this energy into your life. Okay? I have a lot of love for you. Hopefully that advice helps. Yeah, Digibyte's okay for the bull run. I did a decode on Digibyte in the Patreon. I think we got another super chat, so I'm going to check that out really quickly. Yeah, Hannah Bashir, I feel you. I mean, like, I used to work with lots of people from Pakistan, and I worked with this man Syed. He changed my life. He told me a quote that allegedly Muhammad said, which is, "Heaven is below the feet of your mother." And when he told me that, I just went home and I gave my mom a big hug. And now every day that I wake up, my mom's alive, and I'm just grateful. I'm just so happy, about that. Syed changed my life. He gave me a ring, a keek ring, and when I lost it. And I know that everything happens for a reason, but I was fucking livid, and I needed to get that anger out of me. Like, he died 2 years ago. It was really hard for me, but he taught me a lot about the Quran. He taught me a lot about life, he taught me a lot about, like, what it's like to be a man, and I don't mean that from like some, like, in a bullshit way, like a man versus woman or any of that, like, none of that. He just taught me, like, the respect side of growing up and the wisdom side of growing up, and yeah, it just changed me. He was a beautiful man from Pakistan, and he was a very heavy follower of the Muslim faith, and he taught me so much about the Quran. I even actually did Ramadan with him one year, where I practiced fasting with his family. I appreciate you, Denise. Man, like, once I started talking about Syed, like, that really just started thinking about him, Thanks, Matthew. I appreciate you. I really appreciate that super chat. Thank you, man. Much love. No, I have not read the Quran. I haven't. I'm not really attracted too much to these religions, to be honest. I study them from a perspective of their esoteric principles, but beyond that, I'm not really too interested. I see what it does to people. Gee whiz, I appreciate you. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up. Matthew Ross says Masons just lie about everything, and Then Keto says Masons don't lie. They tell you the truth all the time. And I agree. I think all of the truth is right there in front of you. They don't lie because they can't lie. This isn't about lying. It's about influencing. Okay? They're not actually, the deception is through them telling you the truth in a way that is manipulated with the words through spell casting. There's literally full-blown quotes where they expose themselves. You know, you just have to be tuned in, and you'll see. Ian, if you're here, can you get the guy out of here? This guy's a fucking douchebag. Like, seriously. I guess I'll just do it. God, what a fucking parasite. Daniel Alejandro says, have you ever gone to the dark web? No, I haven't. I remember watching this one video, though, of Daylight, you know, that rapper. And he was talking about going on the dark web to try buying a silencer. It's the funniest story ever. And he talks about how he had like 1,500 Bitcoin. I'm sure he sold it all. But it was just so funny. No, there's no truth. Like, this idea of a universal truth, like there's one truth, that's fucking low-level nonsense. You have to expand, man. Everyone needs to expand out of this, like, there's a left or right, or blue or red, or Republican or Democrat. There is a truth. Trust me, I know, because I'm a guy in the comments section of a live stream. No, there's no fucking truth. Everyone is entitled to whatever they hold in their highest regard. Okay? Everything is perception. Everything is perspective. Lucifer is the light bearer, who is Venus, and Venus is the divine feminine, who is depicted also as Apru or Aphrodite, who is literally the divine feminine. Lucifer is just the duality to the architect. Lucifer is the light bearer. Period. Thanks. Sasha Connie 1, I appreciate you. Much love. You know, XRP Poppy, I don't actually know much about the Vedas. I'm in the midst of my studies of individually of Brahma, Vishnu, and also trying to just study a little bit more about CERN and the connections to Shiva. So I'm in my own like little investigation behind that, and when I find out more things, I will absolutely share it with everyone. I don't know if I'll do a video, if I'll do a YouTube video tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. I just wake up, and if I feel like making videos, I do it. I don't have like a schedule. I try not to be like that. All right. Trying to see if there's any final things I could answer. I think this is Bryce Canyon, yeah. Kev Kim says, I lost FOMO by joining Patreon. I have time to read, work out, I'm learning guitar. That's awesome, man. That's so great. It's amazing. Appreciate you. That's really cool. All right. Final thoughts in the Matrix. Well, you know, guys, I am going to move this on. I have some Mexican food I'm about to eat. I'm really excited for that. It's been such a great time chatting with everyone for so long. I am going to leave. Oh, wait. David says, you mentioned a while back that you were decoding an event. Any news on that? Oh, yeah. So really, it's more just to be sharing information on how I see the Shemitah year going. So I'm still working on that, and it will have information about the Yellow Brick Road and the Wizard of Oz. So it'll be like a little bit of like a Wizard of Oz decode mixed in with the ideas behind Shemitah and everything else. And yeah, so it'll be so fun, David. I'm really excited to share that with all of you. But anyways, the new month has started on Patreon. So for anyone who's looking to join the Mastermind community, I also have my link below. I'll share that. And the month just started, so now's a good time to join for anyone. It's patreon.com/WatersAbove. And in there, it will be a really good month because we're going to be focusing on buying, especially if we're getting this bigger pullback that we're anticipating into mid-September. I will be sharing all my buying with everyone and letting everyone know the levels. And also, it'll be really interesting to see how this community expands because we have a lot of people that are decoders, lots of people who are into the occult and more esoteric knowledge, and it's just been amazing. We're almost at 1,000 members. So, and then again, I do plan on releasing that trading course into the month of November, hopefully. So it'll be a September and October buying frenzy for the market. We just have to see how it all plays out. It's going to be an amazing next couple months for this community as we're growing. And enjoy the rest of your weekend in the Matrix. I'll also be doing my Red Pill episode on maybe tomorrow. I'll be releasing that. It just depends. That will be Red Pill episode number 23. 23 comes back to the Chaldean cipher of Bitcoin, so it's perfectly in alignment. So it'll be really awesome. And if I can make a YouTube video this weekend, I absolutely will. Appreciate all of you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.